Hello everyone, welcome back to Art Therapy with MindSoulMeditations. Before we get started, let's take a moment to take a deep breath and let it out slowly. And another one. Hey there, fabulous ladies. Let's chat about something that's as crucial as your morning coffee. Self-trust and trusting others. You know that feeling when you're about to make a decision and your gut says, you've got this. That right there is self-trust giving you a high five. Now I can almost hear you thinking, but trusting others? That's scarier than a horror movie marathon. Well, buckle up because we're about to turn that fear into a thrilling adventure. Imagine you're lounging in your favorite spot, maybe with a cup of tea or wine, we don't judge, and you've got this awesome AI art generator right at your fingertips. It's like having a genie in a bottle, but instead of 3 wishes, you get unlimited creativity. Art therapy with AI is like giving your trust muscles a workout. It helps you explore those feelings that are playing hide and seek in the nooks and crannies of your mind. Before you know it, you're creating masterpieces that speak volumes about your journey to trust. On a more serious note, self-trust and the ability to trust others are fundamental to our emotional well-being and relationships. When we trust ourselves, we become more confident in our decisions and actions. It's the GPS that guides us through life's twists and turns. Trusting others, while sometimes challenging, opens doors to deeper connections and support systems. It's a secret ingredient in the recipe for meaningful relationships. However, it's a delicate balance. Trusting wisely rather than blindly is key. Developing trust is like tending a garden. It requires patience, care, and sometimes dealing with a few weeds. But the blooms, they're worth it. When we cultivate trust, we create a safe space for vulnerability, growth, and authentic connections. And the perks? They're better than finding money in your old jeans pocket. You might find yourself taking on new challenges with gusto or opening up to people in ways that surprise even you. Now let's brainstorm some artsy ideas that capture the essence of trust. Imagine a whimsical bridge stretching across a misty chasm, created in a surreal and twisted way to demonstrate the difficulty of the journey. Picture a figure joyfully bouncing on a trampoline representing the exhilarating feeling of trusting yourself and others. Visualize a magnificent tree with branches reaching out to others, adorned with the fruits of different relationships. Create an ornate treasure chest where precious gems of varying sizes represent different aspects of trust you're nurturing. Imagine a night sky where stars form constellations of supportive figures in your life, with your own star shining brightly at the center. Remember, ladies, in this artistic journey of trust, every brush stroke, or in our case, every click, is a step towards building a more trusting you. Ready to create your masterpiece of trust? So before we get to our art today, let's do a visualization for self-trust. I'd like you to take 3 deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Hold it for a moment just in between before you release. Now I'd like you to imagine yourself standing on a sturdy bridge that's spanning over a misty valley. Below you, a river winds through landscapes of change, rocky terrain, soft meadows, dense forests. This is your life's journey. The bridge beneath your feet is solid, crafted from every moment you've survived, every challenge you've navigated. Each plank represents a time you listened to your inner wisdom, even when it was difficult. Feel its strength supporting you. A gentle wind carries whispers of past doubts, but they move around you, not through you. You are anchored, centered, Your intuition is a compass more reliable than any external noise. Place one hand on your heart. Feel its steady rhythm, the most honest conversation you ever have. This rhythm says, I know the way. I trust my path. I am my own safe harbor. Watch the clouds drift across the sky. Some are light, some are heavy. The sky remains unchanged, just like your essence, unchanging, resilient, complete. Breathe into this knowing. You are not fragile. You are not lost. You are learning. You are becoming. Your trust is a living thing. It grows with each step, each breath, each moment you choose yourself. You are home within yourself, always. Open your eyes. Your inner wisdom awaits. Here's a quick guide for building self-trust through AI art creation. Let's start with emotional expression through prompts. With these steps, we will learn how to trust our interpretations. Start each day by identifying your current emotional state. Create an AI art prompt that reflects this feeling. For example, if you are feeling uncertain, prompt a bridge emerging from fog, symbolizing clarity emerging from confusion. Trust your interpretation of the generated art rather than seeking others' validation. Create a visual journal of your growth by keeping an archive of your prompts and the resulting images. You will notice how your prompt writing evolves as your self-trust grows. Finally, let's work on intuition strengthening. Write prompts based on your first instincts without overthinking. Generate multiple variations and notice which ones resonate. Trust your immediate reaction to the generated images. Keep a log of when your intuitive choices felt right. When you have completed your artwork, reflect on the following questions for each creation. What made me choose these specific elements in my prompt? How does the generated image make me feel? What aspects of the image reflect my inner state? How can I use this image to support my self-trust journey? So for today's prompt, we're going to do a single female figure walking forward, following her own luminescent footprints, glowing soft moonlight, ethereal watercolor style, delicate salt texture creating textured sand patterns, muted lavender and sage, green palette, morning mist, Japanese rice paper texture, soft edges, negative space, dreamy atmosphere, ultra detailed, serene composition. So as I recorded this episode, I was going for a certain look and feel for my work where I was really trying to capture a woman forging her own path. And I did get some really great images, which I am going to use in the episode. However, it wasn't really speaking to me and I wasn't really getting the exact look and feel that I wanted. So I decided to try and do something a little bit different. And that's what I really want to focus on for today, is talk about how we can use personalization codes. So we've really gone over how to blend style references and we've talked about blending images already, but what we haven't really invested much time on at this point is personalization codes and how to create them and how to use them. So for today's episode, I'm going to dive straight into personalization codes and we're going to take a look at how we can use those and create them and how they impact our art. So I'm going to try my personalization style and see what impact that has. So I'm adding the prompt back in, but what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to go and turn personalize on. I can also just do --P to add that in. I'm going to run that one. So I'm going to begin with the personalization reference code that I've used in the past, and I can just grab that right on the side here in the prompt that I have before me. I can just click on that code. So I'm going to grab this. So we'll notice when I go in here, my personalization code is this one here, the MIJX7I5, but I want to use this one instead. So just to make sure that I don't lose it, I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to assign the prompt. Yeah, I did replace it. So I'm going to just replace the personalization code, and I'm going to put the other one in. I'm going to try running this again with a different personalization code. So while we're waiting for that, if you're not familiar with personalization codes, the way that you can go and create them is in the tab on the side here. We have personalize, and there's different ways. It's sort of like teaching the AI what style that you like. So what you would do is you would just start teaching. You'll be asked to select images. Do you prefer the left or the right? And as you work through rating the images, it's going to create a style based on your personal preferences. And that's what personalization is. So what I might try doing is running the prompt. So I did that this time just by clicking on the prompt on the side. So we're going to add the aspect ratio, Niji, and the personalization code, and I'll run it, and I'm going to do it one more time without the style reference again. So I'm going to do that with Niji, the aspect ratio, and I'm going to grab the other personalized code, and let's run that. So now we have some new ones. These are just based on personalized codes and not on a style reference. So this is basically a style that I've created, training the AI by my preferences so that it's going to produce results that it thinks that I will like. And I do like some of these, I have to say. Like, I like the colors here. I'm actually capturing the colors that I was hoping to see. The only thing that's lacking here is the footprints. Same with this one, is I'm lacking the footprints, but I can add those in. Colors really appeal to me a lot more in this one as well. Let's see here. This is a different personalization code. This one is going more towards the blues. We've got some of the same styles as before, but we're missing the footprints. So my next step will be to go in and actually edit and add those footprints. So if you ever want to go and look up what your personalization codes are and keep track of what they are in the past, you will need to go into Discord at this point, but we can do /list and select personalized codes, and I'm going to hit enter, and it will give me a different list of all of the different models that I have. So you'll note that I have certain ones that are on version 6.1 and other ones that are on Niji. So I can go through and I can reference back to ones that I've done in the past. And this is a really great resource if you want to go back and recapture a style that you've trained in the past. So using the same technique that we've already used, I'm going to click on the right on the prompt to add a fresh prompt. I'm going to add my aspect ratio and Niji, and I'm going to add a new personalization code. So this is one of my oldest ones, and we'll look at that and see what that looks like. So if you've trained your personalization code within the same model and in a recent time frame, you can actually combine different personalizations, and that's something that I've done here. You can see on the right here I have two different personalization codes, and that's because they're from the same time frame. So bringing them together, I can take two different looks, bring them together to make my art. So we can look through here. That's actually a really cool one. And so this is my old personalization code that we just tried out. I gravitate a lot towards the same color schemes. I think what I'd like to do just as a finishing touch, I'm going to keep that personalization code, I think what I'm going to do is try and put a little bit of emphasis on the footprints. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to add 2 colons after the word footprints and the number 1. And what that's doing is I'm saying put the greatest amount of emphasis on these footprints. And we'll see if that gives me the final result that I'm looking for. So I'm going to try modifying the prompt one more time to a solitary woman following a trail of footprints. And we still have our emphasis here on the footprints. And we'll see if that gives us the results with the footprints that I'm looking for. So I'm loving the colors. I like that this one here has sort of a winding path making her own way. This one here does seem to have some little footsteps that trail off into the distance, or maybe they're stepping stones, however you want to interpret them. But it seems to be that there's some kind of a path being followed. Here we definitely have a trail of footprints, and here we have footsteps in the background, not necessarily following a trail. And I like the minimalist look of this one as well. So I hope you enjoyed today's exercise for self-trust. At the end of the day, your creative journey is uniquely yours. And trust that it's going to be messy and imperfect. Mine is all the time. Those unfinished drafts, those weird experiments, and these moments when you think you're totally off track, they're not really mistakes. They're your art taking shape. Your inner voice knows what it's doing, even when your critical mind thinks it doesn't. So when you're creating, remember to breathe, keep creating, and trust yourself. You've got this. Today's affirmation is, I trust my intuition and inner wisdom to guide me. Thank you for joining me for another day of art therapy. I hope you enjoyed the session, and I hope you had a chance to create some really amazing art. Make sure to join me again tomorrow, and I really look forward to seeing you there.